Alright, so welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to talk about the Batmobile Jet. I think I've mentioned it before that this car it's like the hardest car I've ever made because I think I've wanted to make this car in like 2023, but back then it was like it's kind of too complicated, so I don't really want to make it. It's gonna take some times, but there you go, there you have it. I finally made it, and it's actually not that hard, even though I still struggling at some part, but I somehow managed to make it. And also, before the video start, I just want to mention that sponsor. Become a sponsor of this channel. Become the Patreon member of this channel, because this channel is mainly sponsored by the Patreon. So if you haven't subscribed yet to the Patreon, make sure to subscribe there. There's a lot of awesome perks in there. I mean, that's like just the way you want to support the channel, but like if you don't want it, it's fine too. But like there's also perks too in there, but like let's just cut the skibidi and then let's just skedaddle. So this is the car that I used to fear to make. I'm Batman. But yeah, man. Also, it's been quite very busy. I've been like coming back and forth to Jakarta and stuff. So life's been quite hectic. So let me show you, right? So this part right here, it's the most confusing part I've ever made in my entire career, because like it's not very regular to be able to just make it like this, like the wing, and then it's connected to this part. It's a different case when the main wing on the back is it's not like literally connected to the main topology, but this one is like 100% connected, so it's not hybrid, it's not a different model being like joined together, so it's like a molding. So it's very hard, but I'm gonna show you because this is very interesting. And spoiler, I also have another car that is very hard to make, but I somehow managed to make it. So I think this is like gonna be my challenge for this year. I'm gonna make a lot of cars that I think is just gonna be very hard to make, and if I somehow happen to make it, then surprise, I made it. So yeah, it's very it started by this very it's like an unjudgmental shape, but if you want to see the reference image, there's not really that much of reference of this car. I see the option of the real replica of this Jetmobile, but it's not very detailed and stuff. So I have to dig down on the I think it's like a diecast model. Wait, I didn't save it here. Okay, let me just show you, maybe like around here somewhere. Batmobile Jet. Yeah, this like around here, there's a lot of type of model that you can see more detail on the back, on the front, and then there's also a different type of model too. But the toys too, there's a lot of reference model on the original 1:1 scale on a Sketchfab too. But I think this one is my main reference back then, and also this one too right here. Jeez, man, like why Google have to do that? That's kind of annoying. But there you have it. It's not very detailed image, but only one. There you go. So this have like 14 images, and I want to make sure that it looks as it is as possible. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I don't make is the rifle, because personal reason, I'm just lazy. Maybe I'll try to make it again after this one is done. So yeah. So as you can see, let me please, can you like close this? Oh man, ads, dude, ads so annoying. But basically it starts with this, right? And I'm also gonna put some of my reference that I've made myself too. So you start by this very simple shape, but then you want to make that the front side is like have a jet, right? Because this is the jet series. So it has like a power jet in front, which is going to be like circle around here in the middle. But how you going to make that? Because it looks like it's impossible to make, because it's not like you just make a circle in the center and then you combine or like join together with the other body, but it's actually molded together. So it kind of looks like this, okay? You just make it like this and then you make it like that. I know that's not making any sense, but you know, bear with me. I'm trying my best to explain it with my own words. So it looks like this, and then the point is that you want to make sure that this part in the middle later on, it can't be shaped into a circle, like a jet, and that's why the next piece gonna look like this, right? Because also you can maintain the wheelbase kind of like short, but also you cannot really make it too short, because look what happened if you make it too short, right? So this is the car, right here. Let me open it on the tab. So it has like an engine too in this side right here. So if you somehow make the wheelbase too short, then there is no way I can fit like the engine in here, because the engine, like this one has like a very, very big type of looking exhaust. I'm not really sure if that's an exhaust or not, because I haven't really studied about the overall engineering behind the Batmobile Jet, but you know, that's the point. You know, you can't really make it too short. But on the middle part of the jet, it looks like this. And the point is that you want to do this, and then, oh, also I have something trick for you guys. So if you have like a different type of, you know, things like this, right? You want to make sure that all of the mirror modifier is applied, but you don't need to do it one by one. There's a way to do that. There's like a scripting in here. It used like a Python, and you can make it your own, right? So I think there's like in here, I've saved mine before, but I think it's gone now. Well, whatever. But there is a script that you can just like type it there to make that everything in here is going to be applied when you click play. I think I've saved that in there, but I'm not going to talk about it in this video. So the point is, you want to apply the mirror right here, and then you want to make it like this later on, and then you want to shape it into circle, something like that. But you know, if you just make it circle like that, it's gonna ruin the whole topology. So you have to think too that you want to make sure that it's flat like this, so it's not gonna ruin anything. And then you want to try to do this, and then when you apply the subdivision modifier, it's gonna look like this, something like that. But also you have to adjust a lot of things, because it's not just fully circle, it's more like an oval, so stuff like that, yada yada yada, whatever. So let's moving on to the next part. It's gonna be the number 2. Now the number 2 is where I finally able to get somehow the, you know, shape that I wanted, like this. It's very, very, you know, narrow between the front fender and then this part wheelbase cut, because you know, in the original 1:1 scale it looks quite long, so I'm gonna make it quite shorter, like to form, so it look like this. And then there's also like this type of like helmet in this Kevlar in the front side in here later on. So I'm gonna show you that too later. So this is how it looks like so far, back in the day when I made it. And then the next part, I think, is gonna be number 5. That's kind of too far, I think. Right, so I was just talking about the Kevlar, right? So I made it like this. So the point is, it was like this, right? It was like very, very tall, but you want to make a cut around here. So the way you do that is actually not very hard. Man, MF really yap a lot, dude. Like yapanology, you know. Shout out to Yapanology University. So it looks like this. You just want to make sure that it kind of like this, right? You remove all of the crease, and then the point is that you want to turn it down. But you can't just like use the Z axis. You have to manually adjust it so it's aligned together nicely in there like this. You just have to eyeball it. And then also, you want to make sure that this part actually goes inside a little bit too. Like this. And then this one too right here kind of goes like that. So it looks aligned together, and you have to put crease in there later on. So it looks like this. So the next part, I think it's just more like adjustment, you know. I don't want to make this too long or like too tall, because it's just gonna, you know, doesn't really make sense and doesn't really look that like a toys or like at least realistic. So I keep it like this. Personal choice, okay. So moving on to the number 4, I think this is where I start to make the wing, you know. So the wing is actually made entirely from this part right here. So it was like this, right? So it's all connected. It doesn't even have like this crease right here, but you want to make it in there. So you have to like in the, I'm sorry, I think the reference. You know, my workflow is kind of like complicated because I don't use this monitor to work, okay? This is my studio where I just want to record video, but the main part where I want to model this, it's on there, which I use like a ultra wide monitor. I think it's like LG 34, 4K, almost 4K, whatever. It's like a curve, so I can like just put the blender in here and then I put the reference in there so I can see like both sides, right? So I can see this is where I model things and then this is where the reference is, so I can always like make sure, okay, this is look like this, I want to make it like that. So right, it's not that complicated. So the wing is like in here. So from the reference I saw back then, it was like this and it's aligned nicely together with the body. So it looks like this, right? Let's analyze it. So it looks from here and then you want to jump straight making it like that. You might want to delete these edges or like dissolve it so that it made sense. And you want to shape it like this manually. You want to shape it to the point that it looks like a wing, okay? Something like that. And in this part it's kind of like this, something like that. Right, and also it's not just purely like flat line on the behind, it's kind of like swing in the back too, so you have to be careful too, making it on the back like this later on. And this is where things got hard because you have to make sure the topology looks nice and even too. And we're not even talking about the, like the, I'm not really sure how to call this, but like it's like this, right? The skibidi in here, like the whatever, the things, the Batman, the things in here, like you have to cut through that, and I want to show you that in here. So it's like in here, I think. So this is my first attempt doing that. The key is just to make sure that the cut is not gonna go through here, because like if I go through there like two, it's gonna affect this part and I don't want that, so I have to separate that, and it's very hard. It's basically very hard, you know. The time I make this, it was like I almost try to give up every single time, like, you know what, I don't want to finish this, dude, this is too hard, like fuck this. But like, no, I'm not giving up. Never back down, never what. I got this. Fuck. I got this. Dude, why am I so brain rot, dude? Like, oh my god. Makes me remember that fa sound. Damn it, dude. This is not very professional. Screw it. Anyway, this is, okay. You know, if you want to really blame, you know, who else to blame, make me like this, is the project. It's so hard. Okay, like, fa. So it looks like this, right? So the way you want to extrude it is by using the Control E, I think, like this, right? Extrude face, but you wanna Command S and things like that, and then leave the rest, like adjust it manually, because you know Blender sometimes sucks, doesn't really understand what you want, so you have to do it to understand your feelings. I want it to be like this, man. I don't want it to be like that, but they don't understand because it's a tool, you know. Like this. So when you turn on the subdivision modifier, it's gonna look like that, and you want to make sure to increase that as a 4 instead, and it looks like shit. It's not like that, okay? So this is I think the final form one. It looks kind of like even, but it still look like shit. So let's just moving on to the next part. I think it's like part 5, where I start to just redo everything from the beginning and finally somehow fix this part right here. You know, it looks even decent nicely. And then next part, number 6, number 9, double large, you know, whatever, CG. Dude, I'm so brain rot, man. Okay, number 7. At least like number 7. Yeah, it's gotta be number 7, yeah. Nope, still not doing that. See, that's the thing, man. If I somehow encounter some part that's kind of just hard to deal with, I just move on to the next part and then deal with that later on, and hopefully I can make it somehow. But somehow, somewhere, I always made it. Alhamdulillah. So I think number 11. Oh right, number 11, where I try to start to separate it and everything else looks already like decent and nice, but that's kind of like too long. So okay, here's the thing. I kind of ditched that part on the wing, and then I just try to work on the other part first, like this, the window, this part, detail, and then the jet, and then this part right here. This one should be like on the refold, but I haven't really made it quite yet because I'm lazy, but I'm gonna make it the next one. I think I'm gonna also make the animation for the refold. I think it's gonna be very, very cool. But let's just moving on to the wing because I want to show you that, and it's not even here. Oh my god, number 11, number 12. I think it's like number 12. So number 12, we are finally here, and there you go. There you have it. That's the wing. Finally, dude. It's like it took me quite a while to finally like just be able to do this, and it's not even correct yet. So we are going to move on to the number 13, number 9, large. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. You know, if you remove the subdivision, it looks like this. Okay, it's kind of hard to explain it too. It's hard. You know, there's a lot of trials and errors too in the process of making this. Finally, I'm able to make it like this. Oh my god, it's so hard. I don't even connect this part yet. Well, in reality, it should be quite look like this to, you know, fix the topology, so it's not look like trash. You have to do it manually too, and then you have to see one by one with the subdivision modifiers being on. So also you check it looks good or not, and then you have to switch on the matcap too to see that if it makes sense or not. Because if it doesn't make sense, it looks like shit, and I don't want that. Okay, so next part, I think it's gonna be like number 14. So again, guys, if you want to support the channel, please subscribe to the Patreon. It means a lot. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. Everything else is very, very easy. You know, I think the hardest part about this model is just this, the wing, and then the middle, the thing, this jet right here is so hard. And I'm just like, damn it, dude, finally I made it, alhamdulillah. Like, it feels amazing to be able to make something that you think you're never capable of making it. Like, dude, it's so it's very meaningful for me. And then there you have it, the Batmobile Jet, powered by Auhapwrd. So if you enjoyed the video, someone made it this far, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and share this to your friend, and also subscribe to the channel, of course, and get to the Patreon, man. Stay awesome, stay powered. Peace out.